Today I'm talking to Inga Bielinska. She's a professional coach, consultant, and writer. She supports clients all over the world in being courageous, respectful leaders in remote and multicultural environments. Inga focuses on promoting diversity and inclusion and supports leaders in navigating VUCA reality. Her motto is growing through difficulty. She's originally from Poland and currently living in the United States. I'm curious, what brought you to the USA?
Okay, well, Norma, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a wonderful occasion, and I love your podcast. I love your interviews as well, so I'm happy to be the guest. Answering your question, what brought me to US? It's a mixture of curiosity, a mixture of my husband's working obligations, and as well, kind of crucial part of it was my daughter's ability to educate a little bit outside of European or Polish schools. Yeah, so I wanted her to learn how to speak English as fast as possible, and doing it abroad would be probably the fastest way. So that was the mixture of reasons.
I know that you are
Yeah.
a very successful coach. I was wondering how it felt like to be in that change and transition earlier in your career.
Mm. Um, to be honest, the US is not the first country where I'm living. So it's one of the countries I've been living so far. But before that, I was mostly locating myself or working mostly in Europe. And when I was working outside of Europe with clients from Asia, clients from Africa, clients from Canada, clients from South America. The funny thing that I didn't have much clients from United States before I moved here. I was running my business in Europe, so it was European Union business. So everything was pretty easy to deal with. Moving to States was interesting from two perspectives. One perspective is that running business here and in Europe is really different. And second perspective is I was working with United States citizens if they were members of if they were members of teams I was supporting, but not really United States based companies. You know, I'm talking about more administrative thing and having as well referrals without United States. So for me, it was really different from working and living in European countries. Yes, the cultural differences was like, oh my God, and as well, this business related thing was really, really challenging at the time. Yeah,
Can you tell me more about that business related challenges?
business
Running,
related.
yeah, running your business in Europe. Apparently you had a very successful business there, and then you come to United States. It was different environment.
Oh my God, the challenges. The challenges. I give you the example. For example, in Poland, when I was running my business based in European Union, I had an accountant, and every documentation was done monthly. So I had, like, paying taxes was monthly, paying some insurance was monthly, and I had a very direct contact with my accountant, like on a monthly basis. Here, yes, knowing that we are here temporary, I decided to focus on sole proprietorship at the beginning. And the payment ideas are a little bit different. You pay some kind of projections quarterly, and then you sum up everything at the end of the year. So there's plenty of documentation. So I was a little bit lost, when you focusing on administrative side of your business on a monthly basis. Yes, like you look how much you spend, how much you got, how much taxes you paid so far, and so on and so on. And you do it once a year. It's like, oh my God, I might forget about something. So it required from me more attention to what I need to do, because I will be solely responsible for that at the end of the year. Yes, and this is what I show my accountant at the end of the year. And the amount of the volume of documentation was much bigger. So that was one difference. Second difference was connected with referrals, really. So when you run your business for some time, and I have, like, you know over 15, I think 18 now it will be. years of experience, you have plenty of network connection. You've got people to help you with small things, with like graphics or internet website and so on and so on. And here in States, I was looking for this kind of network as well. And at the beginning, I was on my own, yeah, and it was pretty difficult. I tried to use the resources in Europe, but since time differences, but as well the complication connected with payment because banking system is different. Basically, for the first, I think 8-10 months, I felt like I started from scratch. I had to rebuild the network for myself here. I had to learn the basics of running business. I
Mm.
had to understand as well. I had to find a good accountant and an attorney to help me to understand all of the things. Since I cooperate with companies all over the world, I needed this kind of support here. I think I felt like I started from scratch. So that was the biggest challenge.
Yeah, letting go of what you had in Europe and starting everything from scratch in the United States, it is challenging. It personally doesn't feel good. Can you tell me about how it personally felt to you to be in that transition?
That was not the first transition, so I had some ropes. Yeah, I had some tricks of mine. I knew what I need to do to save it. It sounds really dramatic, but the worst part for me was waiting for some small plastic card, which is called authorization of employment, which let me to open my business here. Because
Mm.
despite of the fact that the visa I'm on let me work, I needed to wait for the small plastic thing, and I predictions were like 6 weeks to 3 months,
Mm.
but that I waited 6 months, half a year, and I had clients waiting for me.
Yeah.
So I had people who were knocking at my door and saying, Inga, we are waiting, we're in the middle of something. Could you do this? Could you do that? And I said, no, I cannot because I don't have this plastic card. I don't have this ring, which I need to have. And I don't have this, SSN number, which I need to have. You have to wait. So that was really discouraging. I think it was the worst part of it. And I think that I wouldn't be as optimistic before that. But what I did, I realized after 6 weeks that it's not going to be as easy, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to feel bad about myself. So I did what I did before in times of difficulty. I was looking for volunteer work. So I still wanted to do what I'm good at. I want to share my coaching skills and training skills, but I couldn't do it legally as business. So I wanted to take advantage of volunteer opportunities, and I engaged in two projects in education at my daughter's school. One was Cornerstone Project. It was actually teaching children or training children in empathy and being upstander and reactive communication skills based on certain books, which I could utilize my training skills. Second thing was as well at my daughter's school. It was connected with Girls on the Run. That's the coaching empowerment program for girls
Yeah.
connected with running. Since I'm an avid runner as well, I got engaged into this thing. And the third thing was with my colleague, Mel Leof. He's a brilliant coach from Australia, excellent person. He's got the Catalyst project in Africa. And apart from the, like normal work there, there was some volunteer opportunities there as well to work with social entrepreneurs in some of the African countries. So I took up the three things to focus on. So I still felt that I could contribute somehow to the community. I could work. However, it was legal in terms of requirements U.S. government had towards me as expat.
Amazing. You accepted the fact that it's going to take a while and then you created opportunities for yourself.
Mm.
That's great. And those volunteer opportunities sounds amazing. What did you learn from that volunteering experience?
Oh, they actually were, and I'm still involved in Girls on the Run project. However, now we are in a lockdown due to COVID-19, so this is more like virtual project, and we cannot run with girls. But I still would like to be the part of it. That's an amazing project. That's something I would like to take with me to Poland if I could. like a franchise or something, because the
Awesome.
project combines empowerment of girls through different, like, trainings and running together. So girls learn about, I feel communicate. They learn about empathy, what it means to be a good friend, how to deal with difficult situations. There is a very powerful metaphor of star within me, and the star can be clouded, yes, and sometimes it may be really shine brightly. So it really empowers the girls and it shows them tools. So I learned a lot that coaching can start very early in life with the use of running as well, which is great for me because I discovered running late in my life
Yeah.
as a tool to help myself to deal with stress, and as well with the changes of my body. I'm in my 40s, so the body changes and I didn't want to accept it in a way. Yeah, so I discovered running and it was pretty late, to be honest, and I thought that if we combine empowerment with physical activity, especially in the age of, screen time and sitting at home all the time, and the children, obesity levels going up all over the world, mm, I think that this is an excellent way, yeah, incorporate physical movement with mental change. And actually, this program showed me that that was the topic I didn't focus too much with my executive clients. Yeah, they physical presence as well. And I've been using some of the tools I learned there, or maybe I just got courageous to talk
Hmm.
about it with my executive clients about their physical health and about how they pay attention to their energy levels, for example. Yeah, I got really, really interested in it. I just redefined what resonant leadership really is. Yeah, that's not only mental models and talking and leadership skills, but as well it's being happy and promoting well-being within you, so you can resonate it to your people, to your team.
Wow,
So
such an amazing contribution, and you sound very proud of that as well. And I feel inspired.
but I didn't notice all of these great opportunities where coaching as a tool is used to empower different groups.
Hmm.
Yes, because my focus was mostly leaders, mostly team, diversity, and so on and so on. But we need to start from the very beginning. Yes, so I would look around and I would look as well for some opportunities like that outside of the business world, because we can learn plenty there.
Yeah. Wow. And one question keep coming up: how coaching profession has empowered you?
Oh, that's a very, very deep question, and I think I'm going to talk for a long time now. Okay. Now, I think it changed me a lot because I was pretty lousy manager myself when I had my first business. I wasn't a particularly good manager for my people then. I had language school, and apart from teaching myself English as a foreign language, then I expanded a little bit, and I like rented or had services for different teachers. It was the first actually remote team I had because they were located in different places. We went to the companies to deliver services and so on and so on. And on and off, I found myself in a situation that people left me and I didn't know what's going on. I thought that I sell such a good product that I pay them well because I paid above the like average salary at the time per hour for teachers.
Yeah.
But then I learned that it's not all about money. It's not all about the product. I'm very goal oriented myself. So for me, coaching, it was discovery first for myself as a leader, that in order to be a good leader, you need to remember about three things: goal, effects, results is just the one thing. Then you've got relationship. Yes, if you want to really deliver, you need to build good relationship. And the third thing is reputation, because everything what I do and I don't do builds my reputation. And
Yeah.
when I understand that all of these three things are equally important, it helped me really change myself as a leader. It got me so interested in coaching as a tool that I even, graduated from psychotherapy school just to understand everything a little bit better. And I've been learning about coaching and leadership and communication with teams and leaders since then. Um, and I'm just like, I believe that this is the best tool to really transform thinking. And if we, if we're competent enough, we have tools to do something, but we still don't do something. It is all about thinking, about beliefs. And this is the tool to work with beliefs. So, yeah, first, I changed myself as a leader. Then I think it influenced myself in terms of parenthood as well. So it's a very, intimate part of my life, being a parent.
Yeah.
However, my daughter sometimes calls me on that, like, oh, stop asking me these coaching questions. One of the things which I'm really proud of as a parent is that she is courageous. She went through the transition, going from one country to another without knowing the language. She was as well somehow forced to skip 1 year of the school because due to age differences, she was supposed to be in a third grade, but here in States, children her age were in a fourth grade. So she was admitted to the fourth grade despite our complaints and everything. So she skips 2 years. She did third and a fourth grade in 1 year without knowing English. And she
Wow.
managed. And I think, and she's a pretty good and conscientious student as well. Not that she's got like the highest mark with everything, but she's curious. She asks questions. She's keen on reading and finding things for herself. Especially now, I can appreciate it. In a lockdown when they do virtual lessons, she's really capable of managing things by herself. She's only 11. She's in a fifth grade now. And I basically what I do, I just look at the end of the day of curriculum and I ask her, did you do this? Did you do that? And yeah, like 90% of the things are done. So sometimes she struggles with something, or she didn't, she forgets about small piece or bits to do something, but generally she manages herself very well. So I think this is a success of me as a parent as well. Not only me and my husband. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's all because also she has a courageous, curious, and adventurous mom who always are willing to go above and beyond to make things work. And I'm really proud of you.
Oh,
Um,
and that as well. I must say that, we are both in our 40s, me and my husband. My husband is a little bit older than me, and moving from the comfortable life just to have an adventure somewhere else on a different continent, even if you work in the same company, because my husband stays in the same company, it is stressful. And I'm really happy about the bonding experience we have here. And this moving somewhere as a family changes you as a family as well. It opens up different perspectives as a family. So I really would like to acknowledge and appreciate my husband and my daughter here as a part of experiment. Yeah, which was probably hard for them, but it was driven mostly by me, I think, because I have a very good experiences of living abroad. So
yeah,
yeah.
living abroad and starting everything from the scratch, it brings up so much uncertainty and ambiguity. You mentioned also there are certain tools you use. If you could share three most important tools to deal with uncertainty,
Mm.
what are those?
hmm Okay, so actually they are a little bit hidden in the story I told you about volunteer work, because for me the most uh, powerful tool is community. So
Mm.
in the times when I feel uncertain, I try to relate to the community. So I talk to my friends a lot. I try to be authentic in this communication, so to share about something which is difficult for me or something which what I'm afraid of even. Yeah. So I really talked a lot to my business partner in Poland, to Zofia, who I wrote two books with, and we are writing the third. We are in the process of writing the third one now. So I spend a lot of time talking to her. But community or relationship is not only using or utilizing the old ones, but as well building new ones. And I always believe that if I feel somehow discouraged or challenged, Mm, I do much better, or I feel much better if I help, if I can do something for the others group. That's why I thought about volunteer work. One thing is actually, do something what you can do, but I wanted to share my skills with others. So that's why I I resorted to volunteer work. So first thing is relationship, community, people around you, your friends you can talk to, but as well groups of people you can help.
Mm.
And that's something which I find the most powerful tool in uncertainty times. Mm. So that's the first thing. Second thing is being authentic, but not authentic in a way like too authentic, like showing everything, all your tantrums, all your emotions, but not acknowledging that something is difficult for you, and acknowledging that somebody else might have problems with something. And I've been using this tool, authenticity, as a tool nowadays a lot with leaders who found themselves accidentally and unprepared in this virtual remote work environment. They didn't plan on it. They didn't decide on having a remote team or being a part of the remote team. It just happened for them. Yeah, they were forced to work.
Yeah.
And we work on authenticity. But if I say just a slogan, it might be difficult for people to realize what it really means. In a team cooperation, it means feedback giving and receiving. So leader who wants to use this tool in his team, he would ask his people or her people for feedback. So how about himself and herself, but as well deliver feedback on a daily basis. But what does it really mean to an individual? It
Yeah.
as well, being authentic is communicating something to people around us in a way which we pay attention to our needs, but as well we acknowledge the needs of others. Other thing which is very useful at the time to be authentic is journaling.
Mm.
Yes, and I found myself as well journaling a lot, and it wasn't like a long process. What I did, I actually on regular basis I wrote down the things I'm grateful for. Yes, especially in the times when I was really like panicking or afraid or discouraged. I sat down and I think, okay, let's focus on something I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
I tried to hit number 10, so 10 things I was grateful for.
Mm.
As well, I wanted to focus on challenges of a day, so something I really need to focus on or learn even deeper. And as well, every day I wrote down the things I learned today, so some lessons which I already utilized. So whenever I read the book or participated in webinar or something, I just wrote down the key learning out of it. So journaling is the part of being authentic with yourself, and in the times of uncertainty it really helps you because you can, first of all, when you write it down, you can browse and look for the ideas you had, and you can search the progress, yes, what's going on with you. And as well, by just act of writing of the things you're grateful for, it builds up some self-confidence, and it gives you the power to move forward. So that's why I think this is one of the um, most useful tools for individual. Yes, for me, the equivalent of journaling in a team is open conversation. So that's why I said feedback receiving and feedback giving. Yeah, because it's not only one way thing that the leader gives feedback to people. No, if you work in uncertain times, just open yourself to feedback as well. Ask people, encourage them to give you feedback about how they feel, what they expect from you, what you do well, what else would they need, and so on and so on.
Thank you for making it very clear in terms of understanding what tools are available there. I certainly use the writing tool. Help me calm down immediately. You are a writer. You certainly draw on this strength a lot more than me and maybe most of us.
Being a writer is not a requirement to do journaling. Actually, from my perspective, the fastest you do it, the better. So just pointing down something, it doesn't have to be the story and elaborating on your
Mhm.
day and how you felt, because a lot of people get discouraged if you tell them, okay, you need to write a long story here. No, you don't have to like a long story. Just be, just writing points. I'm grateful for the book I found in a library today, which opened my eyes to something. I'm grateful for this article. I'm grateful for the sun today, or whatever. It needs to be swift. I would use the word swift. That's the good word. Yeah,
Swift and make it easy.
yeah.
Like I started with three things I'm grateful, and then every day it get bigger and bigger. It's a
Mm.
very good tool in terms of dealing with uncertainty. Thank you for the reminder. You have created this amazing system for yourself to build your career, and you're very systematic in your approach. Can you share us about that?
The first thing which comes to my mind is answer the question, are you an expert who starts up the career from scratch? Or are you an expert who's got some resources, some experiences?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are two different things. And generally, because even if you are completely new, like I felt here, I had years of experience behind me from a different country. So I still
Right.
could utilize. Yeah, so that's the thing. And I would answer this question as well. If you want to switch the career completely, for me, you are the beginning of the path here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So in both cases, I would tend to using social media as the tool to build your brand somehow, to make yourself visible. But I believe that it must be done differently. Yeah, somehow. So in the second scenario, when you have already some working experience, I would advise you to build the brand as an expert somehow. So somebody who provides content. And in the first case scenario, at least at the beginning, when you learn the ropes, I would establish yourself as a learner, as a student of a new profession. And when you look for the job, when you look for the opportunities, yeah. So this is a kind of different dialogue you engage with people on social media when you have this approach, yeah. So generally, as a student, you look for teachers, so people who you build bond with and you learn from them. You, for example, you read the content regularly, you share their content regularly, you comment to their content regularly, and somehow you become noticed by the group. You build the network around the people who think likewise as well. Apart from, of course, learning, participating, webinars, courses, everything which can help you build the group. So generally, what I recommend any expats is whenever you learn abroad. Yes, whenever you learn in a country you're living in, go for option when you have group of people interacting with each other. So I would always prefer the kind of program when people can talk to each other, participants, apart from webinar, when you just listen as the anonymous group. Why is it so important in both groups, when you are a learner and when you are an expert? Because this is the way to meet others, to interact with others. And I use this form all the time. Before I moved here, this is the form I was using. I moved to United Kingdom in my early 20s,
Yeah.
towards the end of the 90s, the beginning of the new century, new era, I would say, no, new millennia. And I used exactly the same way. I went to school
Mm-hmm.
to meet other people. I went to courses. I didn't just learn from books or articles. I went to meet people because this networking, meeting other people who are at the same place as you, is the best option to actually expand wings. But this networking must be active. This is actually how we met. Yeah, we met through WBEX.
Yeah.
Uh, this is the very great coaching business summit, a year long. Apart from webinars, when you're pretty anonymous, you've got the opportunity to work in the smaller groups, implementation sessions and roundtables. And we met through one of the sessions.
Yeah.
And we actively connected after that via LinkedIn. And we engaged in a conversation. I invite you to some of the projects of mine. Then we were talking about joining one of the trainings together, and this conversation is going on. And that's what I do. I meet people, I engage in a conversation with them, I offer them something, but as well I'm interested in what they do. And this is not a sale network. I don't believe in getting to know people and just immediately after 5 minutes they accept your invitation on LinkedIn, sell them something. No, that's not what I do. Building network based on common interest is really being interested in people, and that's what I would recommend. Go for trainings where you can meet people, even virtual ones. There are summits and trainings and courses where, apart from the interaction with a trainer, you have a lot of interaction with other participants. Yes,
Mhm.
actually, last week I joined the MCC mentoring group, and I was looking for group, especially because I wanted to meet other coaches who are the same way as I am now. And I met a great teacher, and I asked her this question: Are there going to be a lot of interaction between participants? And she said, yes. The group is small. There will be max 10 people, and they all, interacted with each other. And to give you the example, one of my colleague from Canada, Lily Seto, we met in 2014 in other virtual training when we were participants, and we keep in touch still.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be, actually, this week, I'm going to be one of the participants of a very small coaching supervision summit, when the group is not very big, because it will be based on the interaction as well, run virtually. And I show you how networking works for me.
Yeah.
It's not only one alone encounter when I offer you something to sell and you buy and you don't buy. Generally, sometimes it's not about selling even, because the people can actually recommend you to somebody else. It's not about selling them anything. It's just the building close net of relationship abroad. What I do as well, I connect people with people. Yes, so I very often, if I see that somebody needs something, I encourage them. Okay, what do you think about that person? That person could be, useful in this project, and that's what I do as well. Yeah, connect people to people. So that's what I mean by building good network around you in a new country.
Awesome.
Okay, and this is good in a first when you're a learner, and in a second. I think as you're a learner, that should be the most of the time spent
Hmm.
on social media. And generally, to be honest, when I say social media, I mean LinkedIn, because for me,
LinkedIn.
it's the main tool. Yes, LinkedIn, it's the main tool of professional development. So that's why I would suggest focusing on this tool. If you, for example, sell something or you provide services for individual clients, maybe for you it will be Facebook. I don't know. Yes, so I'm just sharing my experience. So for me, that's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's move to the expert brand. So let's imagine that, like me, you move abroad, but you have experience behind you. I would try to utilize this experience. Start to write articles, make
Hmm.
videos, create content in the language of the new country by using the experience from, your previous life somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, so apart from, of course, building the network, just create content, and as well engage with the content of others. So not only like share, but as well try to promote something, try to write a commentary to something, try to discuss with somebody around the topic they provide. And to be honest, I think that at the beginning, it took me about, and I'm very honest here, all of these activities, LinkedIn related, writing, producing content, commenting, it took me about 3 hours a day.
Wow. Yeah.
And it took me, I think, for the first year. So I knew that part of my work is building my brand. And I dedicated the 3 hours daily on that. It, of course, in these 3 hours, it was creating my own content and networking with others.
What I'm getting from the conversation is that relationship is not transactional, it's transformational. And it's
Mm.
not only led by how can I take advantage of what can I get from that person. Be authentic and be willing to give and build the authentic relationship. And also, you're a connector. You give me this idea of interviewing people on the topic of transition. Such a great gift for me.
Connecting and networking is a skill, something everybody can learn. Yeah, that I wanted to highlight it.
You said that you spent entire year almost every day 3 hours a day on LinkedIn. What was the result like? How are you feeling about this now?
To be honest, I had a few goals in mind, and I realized all of them in terms of work. So I think it was a very profitable time. So your action depends on the goals you want to have. Yes, I wanted to build a network of people who I can as well rely on, and I can be support to them. So I managed that. I wanted to become the part of the Forbes Coaches Council, and I become the part of the Forbes Coaches Council. I wanted to as well be invited by good coaching platforms. to work, and I got this invitation. So I think a lot of, I realized that all the things, and additional stuff is that I got invited to a few very interesting podcasts by people who met me on LinkedIn. And this is the way you, in coaching industry, you build your brand as well. So I think I must say that it was a very time well spent, and I still spend time on LinkedIn. Maybe it's not the 3 hours a day, but at least 1 hour. I learned that marketing is the very important part of my expat brand, I would say. Yeah, I need to do it. I'm not an expert on LinkedIn profiling and so on, but I know that I need to spend time there in order to be visible, in order to share content, because there are plenty of great people there who share wonderful content, and sometimes you need to put an extra effort to make yourself visible.
Yeah, awesome. I love your contents, and every day I like to go out there and check. And all the contents you are preparing are valuable, and you're creating amazing value to others.
Thank you.
Maybe it's the last question I just wanted to ask. If you were to speak to yourself, maybe before you moved to the United States, or even long time ago, before you moved to the UK, knowing what you know now, what advice would you have said to yourself?
Be patient. I'm really patient as a person. I think my saboteur inside me is a hyperachiever. I want to achieve things fast, and I want to achieve great things. So sometimes it made me very impatient, and a lot of emotional distress I suffered. It
Mhm.
was caused by the speed of things, that the things didn't go as fast as I wanted to. But now I know that everything has got the time, that it was fast enough. I created the mantra for my daughter when she struggles with math. I told her, Ada, see, sometimes slower is faster. Because when you read carefully the instruction, then you do the step by step the task, you don't have to correct it so many times when you read very fast and you deliver it very fast, because then you correct it many times. You have to do a lot of alternations because you didn't pay attention well. And
Yeah,
I think this is the mantra I would tell myself. Very often slower is faster. So
yeah,
don't expect results at once. Set yourself some time. It could be 1 year, it could be 6 months. Have some visible goals which can help you to establish what exactly you want to do. Are you a learner, or you want to create an expert brand? Okay, what people you would like to connect. Really uh, be curious about them, and curiosity, it takes time to engage in a dialogue. It takes time, so don't be impatient. Slower is faster.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go slow to speed up.
exactly. That's my mantra. Maybe it's not very, maybe it's not something you put on a slogan, but that's something I learned in my life. And I still, in many cases, especially when the stress level is very high, I speed. And that's not good. I know about that. Yeah, I think this is my learning for this incarnation for me, that I need to learn how to slow down in many different things. But I would like to remember, it is like a compass. I want to remember about that. Yeah, just try to slow down, and you get
Yeah,
where you want. Safer probably when you speed up so much.
that's right. And you have lots of energy. I'm curious about where that energy comes from.
This is like it could be an advantage and disadvantage, like everything. Yeah, when you have
Mhm.
something in excess, it could be damaging, I would say somehow.
I can
So
certainly relate to that.
yeah, so there are moments in my life when this energy is not such helpful thing. However, I think I have to be grateful to the generation before me, especially women in my family, who are very energetic and very independent and hardworking. I have a very good role models. My mom was a single mom, with two kids. After the communism ended in Poland, she lost her job and she had to start everything from scratch. And I think that she always showed me that she had time for hobbies like gardening and doing some artistic things, and she had time for family, and she had time for for work, but she was really hardworking. She is really hardworking person. She's retired now. She's approaching her 70s, so it's a little bit different. My both grandmothers, however, they were from two different worlds. One of the grandmother had a, masters before the Second World War in pharmacy, and it was exceptional then for a woman to have masters in anything because
That's
women weren't
right.
studying. But she had it, and she was traveling through work to get work to different parts of the country before the Second World War even, and then she was as well hardworking. I remember her. She was the manager of the one of the biggest pharmacies in my hometown. Yeah, so I had this ethos of work. She was a really hardworking person. My other grandmother, she was a countrywoman, extremely hardworking, because I met her after her husband died. I didn't know my grandfather, and she was, dealing with animals and with the vegetable plots, with gardening, with everything by herself. So I have a very powerful role models behind me, and I think all this energy is in genes, is in my DNA. And as well, I think I'm very passionate about what I do. So that's one of the things. However, when I get older, I know it sounds dramatic, but when you get older, you notice that different things change. And for me, one of the discoveries of the last few years, it was to really think about restoring my energy somehow. And
Mm.
now I think that reading, I read a lot for pleasure, and it's especially in the times of stress, I read even more because
Mhm.
it helps me to restore the energy. I try to read good fiction from all over the world because it lets me to understand the different cultures as well. So reading is one of the things which helps me to destroy, restore my energy. Then sleeping,
Sleeping.
I was very, I'm not a very good sleeper. In my family, people don't sleep too long. I don't know. There's some kind of mindset like this. So now I force myself to sleep at least 6 hours. I know that it might sound bad, but I try to. I wanted to aim at 7, but it's really hard to sleep 7 hours for me. So 6.5, it's something I would like to do. So sleeping, of course, good food. I avoid sugar. I think that what you put in your body is important as well. Family time. I I run energy from that. We hike a lot if we can. We play board games a lot. We even, the act of watching movies together is like we discuss what's going on there on the screen. Is not a passive activity. We want to make it active. And the last thing, which is the most surprising, a few years ago we adopted two cats from a shelter, and we moved with them here from Poland, with two stray cats. And I take up a lot of energy from them, like the contact with animal, observing the animal. It's such a beneficial. I have never thought about it, that it could bring you peace and quiet to your mind, and as well restore the energy. But yeah, that's the thing. I would as well put a lot of emphasis. It's one of the great pleasures of my life to have these two beings around me.
In terms of restoring energies, and the practices that you shared with us are very important, especially in the times of uncertainty. And we certainly feel pressured and stressed. And thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I would like to leave the last few moments with you. I really enjoyed our conversation. You are truly a great role model for me and many other professional people. What would you like to share to the audience?
Be courageous, be patient, and try to, have fun on the way. I think that's important as well. Because if we don't have fun with all of the work, there is no meaning in it, really. Yeah. So, courage, patience, and fun. That's three things I would leave people with. And as I said, I try to be as authentic as possible
Mhm.
with with my life and my experiences. I'm not going to lie to you all that it's going to be easy peasy, simple, and nice all the time. But I'm pretty sure that you will get there if you
Yeah,
put work in it and you put your heart in it and you will try to derive some pleasure from it. So that's why courage, patience, and fun.
courage, patience, and fun. At the beginning, everything feels difficult, and along the way, you will find a way to have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Inga. It's been inspiring hour for me.
Thank you.
I'm certain that the audiences will enjoy our conversation.
Thank you a lot for inviting me. That was a pleasure. I always enjoy talking to you, and I really enjoy and support your podcast because I think it can bring a lot of good, not only to expats, but to all people who found themselves in a completely new territory with their professional careers.
That's right. Well, thank you for your encouragement. See you next time.
Bye bye.